Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. It's Alan, the Comic Collector Geek, and this is the Wednesday video where I answer your questions. Each week, people ask me a bunch of questions, and I try to answer those questions the following week. This week is going to be interesting. Just a couple of questions. Only 2 questions this week. A lot of people commented, but not many people asked questions. So last week, not many questions. So we're going to do a pretty deep dive into both of these questions. Are actually really good questions that really have like kind of long-lasting implications. Both questions in a way. The first one comes from Kay Munin, who asked, since variant covers are a common topic on the live streams, how often do you hunt for variants? Do you go out of your way to buy variants or attempt to get them all if possible? So I kind of want to address a bunch of things within that question that are interesting. So variant covers are really what have saved the comic book industry. Pretty much nowadays, it's just standard fare that you have A cover, B cover, maybe a C, D, E, F cover. Like there's just multiple variants. And actually, it's the variants that drive people to buy certain comics. The stories have been, for the most part, pretty weak in the recent era of comics. And it's really, if it wasn't for the cool variant covers, a lot of the time people wouldn't even bother buying the books. So variant covers kind of kept the industry alive. Also, with variant covers, you have the situation where one book can have like multiple sales. So you can sell to a smaller group of clients multiple things. So instead of selling one book to a potential client, customer, you're selling like 5 books to the same person that are the same book. So it's a way of with a smaller market, increasing your sales. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there. And I am one of those people that will buy multiple covers from a particular series. And I'm not one of those people that will try to get every single variant from a specific title, but I am one of those people that will kind of gravitate to certain cooler variant covers. So things that usually catch my eye, like I'll give you an example, a few examples. One is I like the negative space variants. I actually have a box dedicated to negative space ones. I'm still trying to get the banana one with Wolverine, but I do like these negative space ones. I think they're just really cool. So this is the Blade negative space cover. And I'm not even sure what comic it is, to tell you the truth. It's probably some Blade one, but I don't even know what the comic is. I just go by the cover. I just bought it for the cover. I just really like the cover. I also collect, based on usually what they'll do is they'll have the A cover will be a specific artist, and then the B cover might be a kind of more desired artist like Zerdy, or another artist would be Jenny Frison. So I really like Jenny Frison, and she was not the A cover. I think this is what is this? It usually says the variant cover by Jenny Frison. It doesn't say which which variant it is, but this is the Jenny Frison variant. So I just as another method to make variant covers appealing to potential collectors, they'll do this where they'll have a specific artist like either Jenny Frison or Adam Hughes or J. Scott Campbell, make an alternate cover that will appeal to the collectors of those artists. And that seems to be a very common practice nowadays. And Jenny Frison's one of those artists that grabs people. Another artist that has the same effect is Scotty Young. And I know people that do collect all the variant covers that feature his work. And this one's a fun one. You got Captain America. He's just opened up one of the pods from Alien. This is the Alien versus Avengers. On the scale of Absorbing Man to Thanos, how much of a problem is this? He's got the thing on his face, the the face hugger. So it's just a cute cover. Scotty Young. I like Scotty Young's work. I think it's cute. And it's one of those things. People will collect those variant covers. Another one that's super hot right now in terms of artists and variant covers, not necessarily even just variant. He does the regular covers as well, but this title has sort of capitalized on the artist's popularity. Is Mark Spears' Monsters. So he does the covers, and they homage different things. So this one is homaging Spawn, and Mark Spears is super hot right now. So they'll have multiple covers for each issue, and people are basically trying to chase them all. In the case of this title, Mark Spears, I really do like his stuff. I've been trying to get a few of his covers. If you wanted to pick one title or one artist that maybe I am trying to chase all the different variants, it would be Mark Spears, because I really do enjoy his art. And I like the homages. Another series of homages that I've been getting them all. This is a variant cover to Amazing Spider-Man. I know it says X-Men, but ignore that. But I've been collecting all of the Disney homages because they're just fun. You got this is the Disney homage to X-Men #1. It's just really cute. There's just so many of these, and if you watch my unboxing video from yesterday, I show a lot of these Disney ones that I picked up recently. But this is the X-Men one. And another example of another great homage that I picked up is Gun Honey. And this is another variant cover, but it's an homage to Cap 1. And instead of, I think it's like her bad guy, and they even have like a Bucky like guy. They're mimicking all the elements, but using the characters from Gun Honey. Just a really fun one. I really like when they do that kind of stuff. Sometimes though, it's not just even homages or different covers. Another type of variant that people seem to buy, and I have to admit that I fell into this trap as well, is the foils. And they recently came out with reprints of a whole bunch of DC titles. And they would have like the regular version, the A cover, I guess, and the foil. So this is the foil of the reprint of House of Secrets. But I have the regular original printing of House of Secrets, but I kind of like to I liked getting the foil. So I picked up the foil just because I really love this cover. It's one of my favorite covers. I've been working on a list of the top 100 covers with Biggie Shack and a bunch of other collaborators, and this is one of the ones that I recommended to be one of the top covers of all time. Just a great cover, Bernie Wrightson cover, just an awesome one. So those are some of them, and then just one last one. I'll show you my favorite my favorite variant cover, and this is another type of variant that sort of is one of those ones that whenever they do this kind of variant, it is instantly valuable. And what I mean by that is you have like books that are like, when they come out, they're cover price basically. And even the variants are cover price. But then sometimes what they'll do is what's called a retailer incentive variant. And what that'll be is either one per store, or it'll be, if they order a certain number of copies, they'll get one free one, which has a unique cover. And that's just to incentivize retailers to purchase more of a particular issue. This was a retailer's incentive that just happened to be not a popular ordered book. There's about 2,000 comic shops in North America. And this is one of those books that probably none of them ordered, like probably only a handful ordered enough of this title to actually qualify for the retailer incentive. It was just not a popular comic. And it was classic Popeye. And this is the retailer incentive for this title. And I bet you there's probably less than 100 of these. It's like that limited. There just wasn't that many. Probably what happens is there are big ones, like My Comic Shop is kind of a big retailer that will order a fairly large number of a new title. And they would probably get one of these. There'd probably be other distributors that are kind of the same way. But the local comic shops, why would they order classic Popeye? Maybe they have like a handful of customers that would actually be interested in the title. So in this case, you'd have to order like 15 in order to qualify. And then you wouldn't even know what you're going to get. So, it's just a really cool incentive or store retailer incentive variant, and I just really like it. It's one of my favorite covers, actually. I just like the way that Olive Oil looks, and I like the fact that Bluto's arms are just insane, like it's bigger than Popeye. So yeah, just a fun cover. I really like it. So those are some of my variants. As I said, I don't attempt to get them all, but there are certain ones that have appealed to me. And usually it's like based on either being an homage or negative space or something cool that makes me want to chase after it. Sometimes it's the case, though, that variant covers are actually the one you want to pick up because of the fact that the first appearance of a character sometimes appears on the variant rather than the A cover for whatever reason. And that can be another incentive for you to pick up those variants. And I've gone out of my way to chase some of those variant covers for that reason. Do I have the one I was thinking about when I was saying this? No. There's a variant for the ferret, the protectors, sorry, where the variant actually has the ferret on the cover, whereas the regular edition doesn't. So yeah, so those are some of the variants. Okay, next question, and last question actually, comes from Troy Evans, I should say. Troy Evans wrote, "Is it true that Superman will be public domain within the next decade?" Actually, yes. In 9 years, he's going to become public domain in 2034. So kind of a big thing. If so, how do you think this would positively or negatively affect the investment value of Golden Age comics and Superman and the integrity of the character? Well, my answer kind of might surprise you. There's a few things with when characters go to public domain that you have to understand. First, comic book companies really don't like when their characters go public domain. So generally what they'll do is they'll tweak the character. A good example of that is Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse went, the original version of Mickey Mouse became public domain, I think last year, I believe. And that, so you can, that Steamboat Willie version of Mickey Mouse, you can basically do whatever you want with. You can make, I've seen already, shorts where they use the Steamboat Willie and they do silly things with him. In terms of the character Mickey Mouse, though, Mickey Mouse is going to be, has another like 20 or 30 years left before he becomes public domain, because they've actually changed the character to make him the modern version of Mickey Mouse. And that's a way of extending their copyright. So a lot of the time that's what they'll do. So they'll try to protect the character as long as they can by making tweaks. They'll say, oh, well, sure, that early version of Superman is is public domain, but this new version, he has to be, another 75 years or 100 years or whatever it is. under the copyright of the company of DC in this case. So yeah, what I think will happen generally is a lot of characters are in the public domain. Like I can think of like a lot that you would be surprised by, like Tarzan, um, uh, Winnie the Pooh just became public domain in 2022. A whole bunch of characters that we know that are famous characters are in the public domain already. Um, like I think of a lot of the characters that I love. The ones that I use for my comic book are all public domain characters, like Miss Mask, Phantom Lady, uh, Black Fury, Sheena. Those are all public domain characters. Um, and they haven't necessarily, some of them have sort of faded into obscurity. A lot of the time what happens is the companies that actually used to own those characters or had copyright over them would utilize them to the max when they own the copyright. But once that copyright lapses, sometimes they just sort of let the character disappear. They just don't have any interest in, maintaining that character in terms of stories. And often when the company that actually owns the character and has like incentive to, utilize that copyright, they will use the character much more than even the mass of people that are out there that could use the character. So the sad thing is a lot of the time when characters go into the public domain, they actually get less utilization than when they were actually more restricted in terms of who could actually use the character. It's weird how that works. Now you might see more T-shirts with the character and stuff like that, more like merchandise with the character where people are just using it. I mean, that's probably something that does happen, but new stories actually is less likely, which is kind of a sad thing. There's a bunch of characters that are pretty major that are becoming public domain. So, for example, Popeye becomes public domain this year. Betty Boop becomes public domain next year. Goofy, which is a major character, in 2028. Donald Duck and King Kong in 2029. Snow White in 2032. Superman is 2034. I mentioned that. Batman and Bugs Bunny both become public domain in 2035. And the Joker and Captain America become public domain in 2036. Wonder Woman in 2037. And Bambi in 2038. So there's a lot of really major characters that are going to become public domain. Now, what happens to those characters when they become public domain? It really depends on the publishers themselves. I don't see them slowing down on some of these characters because they are such iconic characters for the companies. Superman is kind of like a cornerstone for DC. I'm sure that there will be silly things that people do with the characters. People will make silly versions of Superman, and you'll see like a porn or something with Superman in it. But that was already being done anyways. People would do it under satire or parody. So it's one of those things. Like it's really up to the publishers, and I think because Superman is such an iconic character for DC, they have all the incentive to maintain the character as much as possible and maintain the creation of new stories for that character. And as long as they do that, it will sort of maintain the character in the public space. People will be still thinking about the character, and those books that featured the character 50, 60, 70, 80 years ago will still be very, very much in demand. There's a lot of books from the Golden Age where the characters are in public domain. Like I collect Miss Mask, and those books have not gone down in value just because the characters are public domain. Um, in fact, there's a lot of interest in the in those books because they're so cool. So as long as that won't change, those books are still going to be cool today, and it doesn't matter what happens to the characters in the future. That's the cool thing about the Golden Age. It's sort of a time capsule that people always want to have a piece of. Um, yeah, so I don't see those Golden Age books being negatively impacted by it. It's really up to how they utilize the character going forward. I really think that, yeah, they will. They will. Okay, so that's enough of me babbling about public domain characters. But what do you think? What do you think is going to happen once all of these characters become public domain? Do you think they're going to be utilized inappropriately, or do you think they'll be less utilized? I'd love to hear your opinion in the comments below. And if you have a question you'd like to have answered for next week, please put it in the comments below and I will do my best to answer it. Thanks again for watching. Bye for now.